had a timeout. I remember Coach Golden said, hey, you guys like whatever the call was? And it was a zero pressure, and I agreed, everybody else agreed. And, you know, you look at the execution of that play. It's not the call. You know, it's 3rd and 11. We had said going into the game, we had a plan for 3rd down, and one of those plans was to be able to bring 6 and be able to play a zero pressure. We had not run that all game, and we said, okay, here's a good time for it. And, you know, the execution of it wasn't where we wanted. The safeties were a little bit too late. We had a guy drop out when he probably should have been going. You know, we got to get inside leverage with the nickel, and, you know, you got a freshman in that big moment. And, you know, if we could, again, go back and do it over again, I wouldn't change the call, probably just change the way we communicate, the execution of it. But, man, that was a heartbreaker, and, you know, obviously changed the tide of the game.
Hey, folks, how you doing? Welcome back. It's Christian McComb with Irish Sports Daily. Welcome to another ISD official visit. We have a special guest today. My old friend Dave Beaudin has done some work for Irish Sports Daily in the past. You guys might recognize him better as Coach Sting. Coach Beaudin's now got a new gig. He's joined us over in the media full time. He works for Frogs Today, covering TCU football with Dissecting the Frogs, his show. Everything you saw him do for Irish Sports Daily, he's doing down at TCU. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Christian. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so me and Beaudin stay in touch often, very, very regularly. And I was texting him after the Notre Dame game. And obviously, you know, the big play of the game was that safety blitz on 3rd down in the red zone. I texted him to get his thoughts on it. What were your thoughts? And tell the people what our exchange was like.
Sure. So that clip you just played from Coach Freeman, I said exactly that. And I'm not often that I'm right, but I'm going to take a victory lap on this one because, of course, you know, Christian, the diehard Notre Dame fan, texted me and typical Notre Dame fan and blaming the coaches right away for the wrong call and immediately said it was execution. I think, honestly, that, you know, to be able to bring 2 safeties in a time you haven't brought any zero pressure at this point in the game, I think is a great call. But the safeties were way too late. And honestly, you know, the nickel's got to get inside leverage. So is it Jaden Mickey? He, you know, right now should be inside leverage. To prevent this. It's just like, it's really, football is really simple. I think coaches like myself just try to overcomplicate things, right? The easiest throw is the one that's a straight line. So take that away, make them throw the slot fade with a harder throw down the field. You know, at least you got a chance. But I mean, to give this away in soft man, you're in catch man as it is, you know that it's zero. So the only options right now is this. It's going to be vertical or some kind of skinny slant if you're positioned inside. And you know, it's just a freshman who's obviously a good player, got spun around, but it's got to know that thing. You have to know the situation that in zero pressure means there's 0 safeties in the middle of the field, and he's got no help, so he can't funnel anything to the middle of the field. There's no one to funnel to, and that's what happened there. I think from the other thing I look at, it's a 6-man protection from Ohio State. So they're bringing 6. You got 6 to protect it. So that's a little bit, you know, I think that bodes well for Ohio State in that situation. However, if you look at the right guard for Ohio State, the reason you had the bluff from J.D. Bertrand there is to make sure that the right guard engages, which he does. He drops out, so he goes to the nose guard. Had the safety been there earlier, and I think he's got a clean run through, to be honest with you. So if you look at the right guard, you know, that was all set up for him to stay in protection and account for him. Lastly, just thinking about this, you know, from a protection standpoint, anytime you get safeties involved in blitzing, now it's hard to do, as you can see, they weren't able to execute it because you got to be able to time it right. But anytime you do that, they're lost in the count. The offensive lineman and the quarterback are always counting in terms of who they have in protection, and very seldom do you include safeties in the count, and that's what Notre Dame is trying to do here. They just got there way too late.
All right, so you know we've heard a lot about this. The one thing I think everyone agrees with is the timing of this was off. So here we are from the sideline copy. You can see Braden Joseph is the safety at the top of the screen. Ramon Henderson's the safety there on the hash. You can see Brandon Joseph, you know, getting ready to come in, and Henderson looks pretty shallow. How should the timing of this? How should it work? I mean, are they too early? Are they too late? What's the timing of this? What should it look like?
Yeah, I think it's way too late. I think, you know, I hear about disguising and, like, you know, they didn't disguise it. I actually think the opposite. I think they overdid it, right? There's a point where, look, we all want on defenses, you want to disguise. You hear that all the time, no matter if you're rotating coverage, if you want it to look like one thing and play another. But at one point, at some point, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble if you're worrying too much about the disguise and less about executing the defensive call. And that's what happens here, in my opinion. I think, they're so worried about making it look like some kind of form of too high look, or, playing that sticks defense where they've got kind of the umbrella coverage at the sticks. That's really what they wanted to present it. Everyone's back. They're playing, nobody's playing press man. So that everyone's trying to give it away like it's some soft zone at the sticks on 3rd and 11. And that's all well and good, but they've got to start that creeping that they do earlier, because at this point, the cadence has started and the offensive linemen already have their count. So it's not like, they could come off, but it really messes with those guys, and if they do come off one of those safeties, then it's not very good technique. They're just throwing themselves at them. And, by then you've hit their quarterback. So, everyone says, oh, they need to disguise it better. Honestly, they just need to stop worrying about the disguise at this point and go make a play. And this happens a lot, especially, with younger guys, and, you coach to do that stuff. But the other thing is, you watch practice, Christian, you go out there and they're going against those buckets all the time. And they're trying to time up blitzes so they can hit on the cadence at the right time. You try and have a beat on their cadence ahead of time. And that's why you're repping it constantly to try and time those blitzes. And they completely misfired in that area. So I thought the call was great, but didn't execute. So, again, I'm going to defend the coach on this one.
All right. So you talked about it a little bit before. What is JD Bertrand? What's he trying to do? You talked about him trying to occupy that guard there. What should he do there? You see him, he's lined up almost on the line right now, right in front of that right guard. What's his kind of responsibilities? And Freeman even mentioned it. You had a guy drop out. It's obviously JD Bertrand he's talking about. What would you like to see JD do here?
Yeah, I found that interesting because had he brought him, unless he was talking about someone else that was supposed to drop, then you're bringing 7. And I don't think that was the call. So I think his assignment is to drop out. But to me, he's got to engage there, because if he doesn't, he should engage just for a half second. So he should punch and then get his tail out of there. Because if not, for this under route, if you're bringing 7 guys, obviously, you only got 4 guys in coverage. There's 4 receivers out there. So they're out of the picture because they're all running some kind of vertical down the field routes. So this under route would be screaming. He might even score had he not dropped out. So I was a little bit confused on why Freeman mentioned that part of it, because I think that was in the call. I think the thing he could have done better was engage with that guard, at least punch. So now his eyes, hands, everything from the right guard goes into him. Now he's out of there. Honestly, the difference here is it wouldn't have mattered much because the safeties are so late. Had they timed it up and Bertrand does that, now you got something going.
All right. The other guy I mentioned in the play, obviously, is Jaden Mickey. You can see him over there on the hash, lined up over the receiver who scores. What's his alignment here? Is he misaligned right now?
Yes. Yeah. So you can see he's on the hash. He's head up. Maybe I'll give him the inseam, I don't know, a quarter, a foot maybe inside, but he needs to be harder inside leverage. If he's not on the snap, then he needs to work to that right away. And he doesn't. He just pedals out of there. The other thing is he's got such a cushion, okay? So right now, as he's pedaling out of there, he doesn't need to pedal, right? You do that if you're closer to the receiver, but my goodness, how much cushion are you going to give somebody? If you line up that soft to begin with, then you can almost you can be a little bit more aggressive there because you're not going to get run by. So the problem here, it wasn't that he got ran by, is he got twisted up because he wasn't playing hard inside leverage and for some reason got surprised on the skinny post.
Okay. And you talked about that. Just if you're going to let the guy make a throw, if you're a man, you want him to make the more difficult throw where it's a slot fade or some sort of corner route or something like that, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just, make him drop it in the bucket, so to speak, outside, and on the slot fade. That would be the route that I would give, quote unquote, give up here if I was going to give one up. But in zero pressure, soft man, now again, this is easy to say, right? Because they're all counting when this blitz is designed and this coverage is matched with it, it's all with the idea that the quarterback's going to have someone in his face right now, right? You should have a safety free up. Now you can see the guard there, the right guard turn his shoulders. And if this thing goes back, You can see the right guard turn his shoulders, 55. When he does that, if the safety's there right now, it's a free hit to the quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. So the other thing you talked about is, just the idea of being aggressive. Notre Dame kept everything in front. Herbstreit talked about it throughout the game. It was kind of the same game plan Al Golden employed against the Kansas City Chiefs. What, it's obvious, but what do you think the benefit of is mixing it up and you're playing soft kind of back all game to come with the pressure at a key point?
Yeah, I think, it's like anything else. You can't just keep showing the same hand every single time. That's a extremely talented team. I think Ohio State's in a different, it's in that upper echelon now in terms of talent. Obviously, when you start looking at, at the Bamas and Georgia of the world, and so those guys there, they're well coached. You show them the same thing every single time, they're going to eat you alive. And so you've got to roll the dice every once in a while. It doesn't mean that's what you do predominantly throughout the game, but if you don't switch it up, then it's going to be a long day for the defense. So I don't have an issue with it on 3rd and 11. You're getting, in that extended red zone area. Come after them, especially something creative. I think that, to me, the one thing that was telling too, when Freeman said, "Hey, this is coming out of a timeout," so everyone was on the same page. I think that's key because if you do something like this, you give up the touchdown, and the players aren't bought in, and that finger pointing starts happening. I don't care how much of a team guy you are, it's just human nature. So people start saying, "Well, we should have did this, we should have did that." But it's really nice when you come out of a timeout, everyone says, "Yep, this is the call." We all agree. Assistant coaches, coordinator, head coach, players on the field. So now at least, hey, you're going to live and die together, right? It didn't work out. Okay, we got to get better. We got to execute better. But at least they can all say that and agree before it happened that it was the right call. And that's, to me, it's huge going forward, just in terms of trust, especially now with the new defense coordinator and building that trust. I think that helps, that they were on the same page to start.
Okay. All right, Beaudin. Well, thanks for joining us. I had to steal him for a little bit. I get some info on this. I miss Inside the Headset. I used to edit that and just learn more and more and more about football every single time. Does a great job over at frogstoday.com. And I know Notre Dame fans probably have a few Notre Dame fans that also follow TCU, but it's not a big thing. But if you guys want to expand your knowledge base, obviously continue reading Jamie Uyama at Irish Sports Daily, who does a phenomenal job for us. And you can check out Beaudin down at Frogs Today. Where can they find you guys? Yeah, so
frogstoday.com has everything. There's a bunch of stuff on the YouTube channel as well with Frogs Today. So we're out there, and it's been a lot of fun out here. I remember you did edit my stuff. It was a lot of heavy editing. So I'm sure you don't miss that part of it. But always enjoy talking football with you and the guys over at Irish Sports Daily. You guys do an amazing job. So thank you.
Okay, and you've made the seamless transition to a member of the sleazy media type, as one former Notre Dame football coach referred to me once. You made a seamless transition. We welcome you on this side, and you belong over here. So we'll see you soon, Dave.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm not a card-carrying member, but I appreciate you allowing me to hang out.
All right. Thanks a lot.
We'll see you guys.